I was really astonished by the amount of energy it generates.
It's a very diverse group of people.
There's a lot of things you probably have never heard and maybe never will hear, again.
You don't have to understand the words to feel, what the music is saying.
समानो मंत्रः समितिः समानी समानो मंत्रः समितिः समानी समानं मनः सह चित्तमेषा समानं मनः सह चित्तमेषां समानो मंत्रः समितिः समानी.
Good morning, everybody. It's an absolute pleasure, a privilege and an honor to be here today with Dr. Kanniks Kannikeswaran. Dr. Kanniks is a renowned singer, composer, a musical virtuoso, and above all, Dr. Kanniks is a true inspiration and a visionary. Over the past 20 years, Dr. Kanniks has created several musical choral compositions such as Shanti, Chitram, and Sharad. In addition, Dr. Kanniks is also the founder for American School of Indian Art. Dr. Kanniks is also very passionate about ancient Indian temples and runs a website called as TempleNet. Today, the focus of our show will be this musical composition called Shanti, which is currently playing in the Bay Area. So, Dr. Kanniks, can you please help us capture the spirit of Shanti program for our Bay Area audience?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here, Madhavi. First of all, Shanti, from a performance standpoint, is like this. If you close your eyes and imagine yourself sitting in an auditorium, the stage curtains are closed and the curtains slowly open, and then you see a group of 150 people in a uniform attire, a group of about 100 people of Indian origin and 50 people of non-Indian origin standing together, the sound of the tanpura coming on, and everybody chanting Om together in perfect pitch in unison. And then the Raga Yaman coming forth in the voices of the choir, followed by the orchestra joining them, a 30-piece orchestra, followed by dances coming together, all celebrating the spirit of peace in a musical score that combines Indian ragas with Western orchestration and choral harmony. So it might sound like a lot of jargon, but what it means is that you have about 100 people, 150 people singing together, and about 30 people playing orchestral music along with them, like a symphonic music score. And so there's many things happening at the same time, but collectively they are creating the mood of certain ragas. Okay, and this is what is happening on the performance front. But from a message front, what Shanti conveys is the idea of universal peace. The word Shanti means peace. It's not peace as in war and peace. It's not the opposite of war. It's the idea of internal peace, or the peace that you realize that you get when you realize the interconnectedness between yourself and the rest of creation. It's as simple as that. The production Shanti explores the idea of peace. It shows what's possible in the state of peace. It also explores what's possible in the absence of the sense of peace. So it explores the idea of ashanti, or the lack of peace.
It seems like, Shanti comes with a very profound message of inner peace. Would you share a few glimpses from your childhood that basically led you down this path of sharing and spreading the word of peace around the world?
It started with me at composing music, combining ideas of Indian melody with Western orchestration. And as I proceeded with it, a friend of mine suggested that I form a choir, which I did back in 1993, 1994, and we gave our first performance. One thing led to another, and I collaborated with the Western choir. And then that led me to writing Shanti in 2003. And at that point in time, I realized that the purpose of the work that I was doing was not just about creating new music, but it was all about community. It was all about people. Because it's like it takes people to get together, to share the music, to perform it together, to hold hands together and sing it together, to create that energy, that joy, which is not comparable to anything else at all. And typically in a choir, what I've seen and what's moved me is that there's people that are trained in music right from their childhood, who come and sing with a group and who kind of lead and support and stand for people that have not had that kind of a training. So you see amateurs and professionals singing shoulder to shoulder, side by side, and creating magic through music.
Thank you, Dr. Kanniks. It almost seems like it's a show where the many become one. I myself, being one of those, I've had the opportunity of having the exhilarating experience of being a choir member with Dr. Kanniks, and I thank you for that opportunity. You have been a true inspiration for thousands of us around the country. I'd like to know who's your inspiration.
There have been many sources of inspiration. Like I said, I learned Carnatic music when I was a child, and I gave my first performance when I was 13. And my repertoire includes a lot of compositions of a composer from South India, from the 1700s, 1800s. Its name is Muthuswami Dikshita. And one of the things that he did will surprise a lot of people because they wouldn't have heard of it. See, 200 years ago, when the British came to India, they brought with them a lot of tunes that were played by their marching bands. So these bands used to march, and these Englishmen, the company men, used to have dances in their clubs, and there used to be small bands that played music for these dances. So these dances were like waltzes, and there were marches, and there were jigs and reels, and so on and so forth. Basically folk tunes from Europe that came to India. And this composer, Dikshitar, who was rooted in the orthodox raga tradition of India, heard this music. And the most interesting thing is that he didn't shun this music as something alien to the land. So what he did was he picked some of these tunes and wrote lyrics in Sanskrit to match the tunes that came with the British East India Company. The result is a genre of music that's neither completely Indian nor completely Western, yet it's uniquely both. So it's not just one or two or three or four compositions. It's a total of 39 compositions that was created by an orthodox musician back 200 years ago, when he actually negotiated with alien music to create a new musical genre of his own. See, can you imagine that happening 200 years ago, when you didn't have electricity, when you didn't have communication, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have ways to look for new music or anything like that? And see, here he was rooted in this tradition, almost shrouded in a veil of orthodoxy, but he was able to step out of his shoes and deal with these tunes and create something new that is totally uniquely Indian.
Very exciting news, Bay Area. Shanti will be performed on May 21st in Oakland at the Interstate Auditorium. Tickets are currently available on Purple Pass. Shifting focus a little bit into the contemporary world, if we look at the current day Bollywood singers, there's a lot of talent that we see in Bollywood today. Do you actually see the influence of classical Carnatic, whether it's Hindustani or Carnatic music, on current day Bollywood music?
See, when Bollywood music came into being, it was pretty much based on Hindustani or Carnatic music. That's how it started. Okay, because you had classically trained musicians that scored music for films. Then over a period of time, the music started moving away from its classical roots But you do occasionally, more than occasionally, see compositions like in the 60s and the 70s that are based strictly on classical ragas, like Yaman, Bhairavi, and in South India, this composer by name Ilayaraja created a lot of compositions that are based on the scales of classical ragas, even going beyond the popular ragas and scales of rare ragas and so on and so forth. Now there's much happening in Bollywood. There's a lot of creativity. People are able to listen to various forms of music from around the world and get inspired by them, combine ideas, and almost integrate them together in sometimes in a seamless way and sometimes not in a seamless way. And there is definitely room for ragas in here. So you do hear compositions that are not completely based on ragas for a full 5-minute period, but you do hear snatches of melodies that are based on ragas here and there. So that ragas are inherent to Indian music, and you cannot go away from that at all. So you will continue to see ragas in film music, whether in part or maybe full-scale compositions. And there was recently a Marathi movie.
That's great. Dr. Kanniks, so that brings me to my next question. Do you have a favorite Bollywood singer?
This is a very hard question to answer because I grew up listening to Kishore Kumar, and then over the years when I switched to listening to Tamil music, I started loving S. Janaki and S.P. Balasubramaniam. Then as I aged more, I started listening to older film songs and started loving compositions sung by Lata Mangeshkar and Asha Bhonsle and Mohammad Rafi and others. When Shreya Ghoshal, we attended a show of hers last year, and there are lots of good singers today.
Let's shift focus for a moment over to Dr. Kanniks' lovely and very talented daughter, Vidita Kannikeswaran. Vidita Kannikeswaran is Dr. Kanniks' daughter, who is extremely talented, has a beautiful divine voice, and has actually grew up with Shanti over the years. She has been a participant and has been promoting the message of her father for several years. So Vidita, can you share with us your experience?
Absolutely. Well, Shanti was written, the first Shanti was premiered in 2004. And obviously I was growing up in a household where, the environment was so musically rich all the time. My dad had his composition room where he would sit and write for hours and hours, and he would take my opinion so seriously. I was only 8 or 9 or something, but he would be like, okay, what do you think of this melody? Should the Western choir sing this or should the Indian choir sing this? And I remember actually maybe even making some significant contributions to the music with some of my musical thoughts. And he would have me sing on some of the demo recordings, and we would listen in the car. And by the end of the first production, I want to say I had the whole show just memorized backwards and forwards. And as the years went on and we performed it more and more times, my level of participation in the actual show just grew. So in the 2004 Shanti, I was a member of the children's choir, and then 2006 I had my first solo, and from there I just I went on to be a larger part of publicity for the show. As a college student, I remember putting up posters, telling my friends to come, getting younger audiences involved, and taking on of course more solo opportunities, and doing some behind the scenes, behind the stage management, and work with the multimedia, and just about everything to push the show to its greatest success.
That's awesome. So is there a favorite part of Shanti that you have? I don't want to give it away.
I don't know. I really love all of it, and I think every element of the show is so important to promoting the message that it conveys. I would say, I love the very beginning of the show. I get chills every time. And my father, as a composer, he likes to kind of leave his mark, I guess, on his work by starting every show with the Rag Yaman. So that's just something that you obviously will hear in Shanti, and just for our family, it's kind of special. It's like one of my favorite rags. So I love the very beginning a lot.
So you have probably seen several compositions with your father, and a lot of his creations. Is there a dream Shanti that you have in mind that is yet to be created?
Well, I think I can, speak for both of us, my father and I both, when I say, the most special element to Shanti is not just the music or the dance or the visuals, but the aspect of community. Every single time it's a different group of people coming together, and every group has something so unique and special to bring to the show. So, a very, very special performance of Shanti to us would be a group of singers, I guess from the very first Shanti, the original singers, as well as, people from all of the Shantis we've done in the past in like a big grand choir, in a beautiful space, highly renowned like Kennedy Center or Lincoln Center, just a very, grand space with a grand choir, and, some of the best dancers we've had throughout the years would definitely come together for a very spectacular performance. So hopefully we can make that happen sometime in the future.
That sounds absolutely awesome. I would love to be a part of that program. Thank you so much, Vidita. It was great talking to you. So, Dr. Kanniks, thank you so much for your time. But I think the interview would be so incomplete if we were not able to hear your melodious voice. Would you be able to perform a small piece for us?
So you know the flagship song of Shanti, right? The song that everybody leaves with at the end.
I do, but our audience would love to hear it.
It's a very simple tune, okay? It means, may all be blessed with boundless joy, may all be free from needless fear, and in this world of harmony, may peace and joy prevail. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, pashyantu. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, pashyantu.
That was wonderful, Dr. Kanniks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate
My
it.
pleasure.
Thank you.